Hi everyone, it's Janet and welcome to my channel. If you're watching, you probably like cards and you're in the right place, especially if you like interactive or fancy fold cards, because that's what I mostly focus on this channel, as well as I throw in a few product reviews here and there as well. About a week and a half ago, I did a video where I showed you 6 cards that I had made with art impression stamps. They were all but one interactive, and I asked you which ones were your favorite. Well, over and over again, the flip style card came up. So I thought I would do a tutorial on how to make this card. It's really not that complicated once you learn how to do it. And you can do it with anything you have on hand. You don't even really need dies. All you need is a cutter and some measurements and some cardstock, and you can make this card. The other beauty about it is you can decorate it with anything. Today I'm using a lot of Eyelet Outlet products, but you could also decorate them with stickers, die cuts, stamps, whatever you have on hand. We'll get started in a moment, but before we do, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red button. Also, click on the bell icon as well, because that will notify you when I have a new video. Let's begin. Alright, well here's a close-up of the cards that I made. They use a lot of Eyelet Outlet products, including the bling on both of these. This one has a cute little character, and inside it says, "I've got your back side," with one of the toilet paper brads from the toilet paper and tissue brad set that's brand new in the store for Eyelet Outlet. Then on the other card that I'm going to show you the tutorial on, it says, "I heard you caught a bug," and it flips open to say, "Get well." Now this one uses the tissue from the toilet paper and tissue brad set, also the mask from the mask, hand sanitizer, and soap brads. Inside I've got the stitched flower brad, and of course on the front I've got the mini Ladybug brad, which is the bug for that card. The first thing I'm going to show you is to make the pull mechanism. This piece is 5 1/8 by 1 5/8, and I'm going to score it at 1 5/8 and 1 7/8. Once that's done, I'm going to fold and burnish those score lines, and then I'm going to work on the pull tab part that's going to show in my card. I'm going to pull out a tag die for this. This is an old Sizzix tag die. I don't think you can get them anymore. You can use any tag die that kind of fits this size. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I wanted to demonstrate partial die cutting. Now if I ran this through like normal, I would cut this tag off, or the pull mechanism off. By putting my platform there so that it doesn't quite hit the edge of that tag die, there's going to be no pressure that goes all the way to the end of that die, and therefore it will not cut. And that means it only cuts the part where the pressure was applied, and you'll also see that it didn't cut my pull mechanism at the end at all. It just trimmed off the sides and the front. And that little excess that I'm cutting off will never show, because not nearly that much will be visible with the finished card. I need a slot cut for my mechanism, and I'm going to use an old Stampin' Up! Label puncher. Any label punch about that size will work for you, or you can use a craft knife and a ruler and cut just a slim long rectangle to get that. Then this is a circle punch. It's about 1 1/2 inches, and I'm just partially cutting that to create the notch that we need, and that will make the pull tab a little easier to grasp. Alright, so now we're going to go to the little pieces that are going to be the flip part of the card. You'll notice this is a glossy paper, and it actually is photo paper. I printed both of the sentiments for this card onto a 4x6 photo paper sheet, and then just trimmed them down using the square stitched rectangle dies. It just gives it a different look, and if you have to print your sentiment anyway, why not do it with this glossy paper? It just gives it a nicer feel, and it's fun to use once in a while. So anyway, now I'm just applying my brads. I've got the tissue box, and now here goes the mask, and then I'll put in the Ladybug too. To place these brads, I will take the brad with the prongs down and put them approximately where I want them to be in my card or element, and then I'll take my poke tool and place that poke tool where I have judged the prongs of the brad to be. And usually I get pretty close by using that method. So there you have those 3 cute little items on there. Now I've got the stitched flower brad that I'm going to put in the Get Well sentiment I love these stitched flower brads. They've been in the store for a long time, but they're so whimsical, and the color that I needed for this card was just perfect. And they come in multiple colors in the set, of course. Once these were done, I just glued them onto my larger scalloped squares that I had cut earlier. These dies are from CottageCutz, and I'll include a link and all the dimensions in my blog so that you can replicate this if you don't happen to have these particular dies. Once again, you can find a link to the blog in the video description. Well, now I can start working on my mechanism. So remember, I've got this mechanism all ready to go. The first thing I'll do is put on some score tape, and I would recommend score tape or at least some kind of two-sided tape for this mechanism, because it does get a lot of action, a lot of pull, and you want it to stay in place and not release. So I'm going to use that 1/4 inch score tape, and then I'm going to put 1/2 inch score tape on to the right of that, on the other part of the larger fold, if you will. So I'm going to take off that 1/2 inch score tape, and I'm going to actually place my smaller get well sentiment on that, and I want the edge to go right up to the edge of that fold. So it's kind of easier to do that if you fold it over like I did there. Then I'm going to place the larger of the pieces for the flip card. This is going to be the front, and I'm going to do the same thing. Fold it over so I can line up to the edge of that glue line and fold line really, really closely. Then key to this style of card, and to get the action you need to put some glue on the back side of the smallest piece, just on the far right side or the left if you've got it folded over like this. And this is going to be what keeps the mechanism in place so that it will actually flip when you pull. Now what you're trying to do is get the larger square centered in your card. So once you have a good idea of approximately where that's going to be, remove the protective backing, but then don't press it all down until you have it centered. That's the key, because otherwise it will stick in a place you don't want it to. And it's that sticking, that last bit there, that, like I said, makes it flip. It's the perfect time now to add the ribbon for the pull mechanism, because once you put it on the card, it'll be harder to get at the hole in the pull mechanism, and so it's just best to do it at this point in the process. Next, I'll glue this front panel to the mat, and you'll notice that this was a piece of scrap that I used on the card. I probably cut this up for scrap 2 years ago or more, but waste not, want not, right? Most of us don't throw away nice big pieces of cardstock like this, so I have reused a piece. And look how great this pull mechanism works now. It's so much fun, and see how easy that was. It really is not hard. Now I can attach this whole front panel to my card base. I'm just using some art glitter glue for that, making sure that I have it right side up with the card opening and attaching it to the front. Now you could keep this clean and simple and just leave it this way. I chose to add a little more Eyelet Outlet bling to it. I'm adding some Eyelet Outlet clear swirl bling to the top and bottom of this card. The swirl bling just adds some more movement and a little bit of glitter and shine to the card. And you know, I call myself SugarShine Designs because I do like bling and things that are shiny. So there you go. It's hard for me to resist, but this bling is really awesome. It's so pretty, and it adds a lot to the card just to give it a finished look. So I'll put that on the bottom and the top. Eyelet Outlet has tons of different types of bling, like this swirl style, and this comes in multiple colors too. The clear is my favorite though, because it'll go with everything. And not only do you have the flip going on, but you still have the inside to put another sentiment. The whole thing is really cool. Well, now that you've seen it done, I hope you agree with me that this card isn't really all that hard to do once you know the dimensions and how the mechanism works. Now, if you don't have the exact same size squares as I have in this card, it's okay. Just make a prototype first of using the dimensions that I've given you, and then compare that to your own die stash and adjust things as needed. There are two things you may need to adjust. One would be the length of your pull tab, depending on how big your main mat is, or the front mat. The other may be the length, the total length of the channel that you put your mechanism in. It may need to be wider. And remember that you don't need a punch to make that channel. You can just use a craft knife and a ruler and cut yourself just a long skinny rectangle and use that for your mechanism channel. Well, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your time, and I'll be back soon with another video. Hey, keep the fun going and stay for a little while. Here are a couple more videos that you might like if you enjoyed this one. Thank you again, and don't forget to subscribe, click that bell icon, and we'll see you soon.